All right. Good afternoon. Hope you all had a wonderful weekend. Let's go ahead and get started. We can start standing actually. So let's take a breath or two here, but just working on our posture a little bit, but just kind of off our down foundation, just everything with this standing. So just start out. Go ahead and pick those toes up. Okay, spread them out nice and wide. And start with the baby toe, the pinky toe, and then just lower all of those toes down onto the mat. Okay, so really wide grip with those toes. Okay, now grip the toes down with the balls of feet, the heels into the mat, and then pull kind of towards the middle of the foot. So the arches are lifting. Maybe a little bit more weight shifts to the outside edge of the foot, just so we're not collapsing inward in those arches. Okay, so that core is nice and tight, standing up nice and tall. Okay, so think scoop that tailbone down, scooping that rib cage down, that core is tight, and the shoulders can roll down and back. Okay, so in yoga we call this a mountain pose, but kind of just standing, shoulders are relaxing down and back, chest is lifting up through that top of the head. And just take that really big breath in through the nose. Maybe bring those shoulders up by the ears a little bit more. And then exhale. Breathe all of that air out just through the nose. Let's do that one more time. Really big, big breath in. Feel yourself standing a little bit taller. Fill those lungs. And then exhale that breath out. And now let's do some shoulder rolls. So just start going back first. If you just start a little bit small, you can. Those shoulders feel like they're a little bit grindy this morning, or I guess this afternoon. And now let's go forward, up, and forward. Good, big, big circles. And now we're gonna do arm circles. So let's just start really big. And if you need to start a little bit smaller, you can. Just kind of nice stretch through those shoulders. Let's go forward. Bring those arms back as far as you can. Bring them as close to the ears as you can. Take a couple times to get there. Good. Now bring those arms out to a T. We're going to bring that right arm across. Left hand comes up, kind of not, it's right on the shin, but close to the elbow. Hold that. So if this is your right arm, your right shoulder, down and back. And then pull that arm towards you a little bit more. And then let's switch sides. Bring those arms out to a T. Bring it across. Get pulling that left shoulder down. Feeling maybe that stretch through that backside of the arm, so that delt into that tricep. Now reach those arms behind the back, interlace the fingers, so pull those knuckles down first, rib cage stays tight, and then maybe those hands come away from those hips. Another breath. And then we'll release those arms. Okay, again, reach those arms out to a T. So if I'm near you, you're gonna bring that left arm underneath the right, grab onto those shoulders first. So I'm grabbing onto my shoulder blades. They're kind of sticking out a little bit, and I'm walking so my elbows are past each other, okay, as you can kind of see. Now from here, back, so the hands will come together. Okay, maybe you just stay here, or maybe you can cross it again, and those palms will come together. Now again, if this is too much, you can always stay here, just grabbing onto those shoulders. Okay, now you're gonna lift those elbows up, just kind of rotate those shoulders down and back. So again, then maybe try and bring those hands away from the face a little bit more. Then that nice big stretch in between those shoulder blades. And let's release it. Other side. Then grab onto those shoulders first. Bring those elbows across each other. And then back, so the hands will come together. Palms can come together. And then from there, start to lift those elbows up. And then maybe bring those hands away from the face. Again, if this is too much, just grab onto those shoulders. One more breath. And again, let's release those arms Reach them behind the back, knuckles down, hands come away from those hips. Now let's add in that next stretch. So bring those hands over to that right hip, really tall through the neck, and then drop that right ear down towards that right shoulder. Think about pulling that left shoulder down and back. Bring that head back up to the other side. Bring those hands over to that left hip. And we'll drop that left ear to that left shoulder. And bring that head back up. Let's reach those arms up tall. And then with a flat back, we're going to reach the hands forward and then start to lower those hands down to shin first. Okay, keeping that nice flat back. Might have to bend those knees a little bit more. That's okay. And then bring those hands down a little bit further. Maybe a little bit further. Scooping that tailbone up, lifting through that chest. Good, now we can relax it. So maybe a little bit more rounding through the spine, just letting the head, that upper body hang nice and heavy. And if this is too much on the low back, you can just keep those hands on the shins. And now we'll bend into those knees. Come back up to standing. Let's interlace those fingers, bring those palms to point up. Let's find that side bend over to that right side. Inhale it back up. Exhale it over to that left side. But inhale, reach it back up. Release those hands flat back as we bring the hands to the shins. Really lengthen through that spine. So lift the chest up, lift the tailbone, and then slide those hands down a little more as we fold, just letting it hang nice and heavy. Last time, and into those knees. Let's come up to standing. Reach those arms up, interlace those fingers, palms will face up. Bend it over to that right side. Inhale, bring it back up. Over to that left side. Bring it back up. And then release those hands as we fold. Hands to the shins, really flat back. And then slide the hands down as we fold. From here, we'll take a big step back with that left foot. Okay, so keep the back knee lifted. We're going to come into a lunge. That chest is pulling forward. Back is nice and flat, really strong and straight through that back leg. Now we're pulling that left hand down, twisting. Right arm's going to reach up. Now lower that hand down. We're going to straighten that front leg, lifting that back heel up nice and high as we fold over that front leg, that straight leg. Now rebend into that right knee, into that lunge. Again, we'll plant the left hand, twist, right arm reaches up. Lower that hand down, straighten that front leg as we fold over the right leg. And rebend, plant that left hand, twisting, right arm reaches up. Lower the hand down, straighten that front leg as we fold. Now let's rebend into the front knee, lower the back knee down. Inhaling, reaching those arms up. So we're coming into more of a low crescent lunge. Rib cage stays tight as we press those hips forward. So tailbone scoops down, rib cage scoops down, and press. And hold it here. Just feeling that nice stretch through that left hip flexor. Go, and 3 more breaths. And lower the hands down, straighten out front leg, pulling those toes back. Good, now we'll rebend into that front knee. So plant that left hand, again, twisting, right arm reaches up. This time, if you want to try and bend that back knee, you can, reaching for that foot Okay, so maybe you don't actually grab the foot. Maybe we're just kind of in this position, reaching for it. Okay, so up to you. If you do have that foot, think about pressing that foot into the hand for a few breaths, and then maybe you pull that leg towards you a little bit more as you kind of relax into that leg. Again, press that foot into the hand. Really squeeze this left glute, that left butt cheek as we press. And then hug it in a little bit more. And go ahead and release that foot or just lower it down towards the mat. Untwist. Good, hold it here. Maybe even lifting that back knee up off of the mat. Good, one more breath. And then let's step that left foot forward in a forward fold. So bring those hands to the shins. If you feel like you're pretty mobile, have a lot of flexibility in those hamstrings, and you can flatten out the back with the hands on the ground, that is definitely an option as well. Now we're going to take a big step back with that right leg. So hands are in that lunge position, back is nice and flat. Then hold it here for another breath. Now we're going to plant that right hand down, twist. The left arm is going to reach up. And we'll lower that hand down. Let's straighten that front leg as we fold over the left straightened out leg. Rebend into that front knee, plant that right hand. Again, twist, left arm reaches up. Lower the hand down, straighten that front leg. Then rebend into that knee, plant the right hand, twist the left arm up. And lower that hand down, straighten that front leg. Last one. And then we'll rebend into that front knee. Let's lower the back knee down. Inhale, those arms will come up. Core is tight, pressing those hips forward. Another breath or two. Just trying to find that release through this left or through this right hip flexor. Let's lower those hands down. Straighten that front leg as we fold. And then we'll rebend into that knee. And plant that right hand, so back knee will stay down. And we're going to twist. Left arm reaches up. And then you can start to bend that knee, reaching for that foot. So we'll reach for that pinky toe side of the foot. Core stays tight. Now, gently press that foot into the hand. If you have it, if you don't have it, don't worry about it. If you don't have it, you still want to flex this right glute though, as we pull that. You kind of actively pull that leg towards you. You know, if you have the foot, press the foot into the hand for a couple of breaths. And then as you soften, try and pull it towards you a little bit more. Let's go through that a couple times. And go ahead and release that foot. Lower it to curl those toes. Let's lift that back knee up off of the mat. Let's hold it here, a couple breaths. Bend that back knee. Let's step those feet forward. Get hands come up, maybe to the shin, flat back. And then let's plant those hands down. Go ahead and step it back to our plank. Shifting that weight forward as we lower down onto our stomachs. Point those toes, rolling the shoulders down and back, lifting that chest up into that cobra, and then sending those hips back to those heels into your child's pose. And rest that head down. Softening that chest down to the mat. And let's come back up onto hands and knees. Let's step it back to our plank. And then let's push those hips up into the down dog. This is our first one, so those calves might be a little bit tight, so you can bend one knee, press that opposite heel down towards the mat, hold for a breath or two, and then we'll switch. So move through this a couple times. Keeping that low back, nice and flat the whole time. Now let's step that right foot outside that right hand. That knee will lower down. Let's move into that push-up position. It's hard to tell because my leg's in the way, but here. So I think bending the elbows still in the way. There we go, kind of like that. And then press back up. So just here, lower down into that push-up. Keep the back flat. Just go as low as you can. Come back up. Again, we'll lower into that push-up. Bring it back up. And then again, lower into that push-up. Maybe you hold it here, or maybe those elbows make their way down towards the ground. Keep pulling that chest forward, lengthening through that spine. Maybe just one elbow is down. Maybe you stay on the hands. This might be a little bit too aggressive today, and that's okay. Sometimes you just wake up and your body's not feeling it. Happens to the best of us. And let's come back up onto those hands. Step that leg back into that down dog. And let's go to the other side. So stepping that left foot outside that left hand. And then we'll go into those push-ups. So just kind of bending the elbows, maybe just a few degrees. Bring it back up. Lower. Press it back up. And then this one will lower. So hold. Or you can lower those forearms down towards the mat. Sometimes I can, on this side, I can bring my right forearm down and then just stay on my left hand. That's kind of a in-betweener. Or again, just stay on those hands if it's feeling super tight. Nice flat back, so chest pulls forward. And then come back to those hands. Bring it on back to that down dog. Get another breath, maybe two. Let's go ahead and come on to our backs. Just roll it on down. And then we'll cross that right ankle over that left thigh. Go and hug that left leg in. So starting with maybe the hamstring, keeping that tailbone down, chest lifting, nice flat spine. And maybe you can grab onto that shin if it's accessible, just hugging it in a little bit more. Then lower that foot down. So you have those arms, just drop the knees over to that right side. Left shoulder stays down. And bring it back to center. Switching sides. We're going to cross that left ankle over. Okay. Grab onto the right hamstring first. And if you can keep that tailbone down, you want a little more stretch. In that left hip, grab onto that knee. Then go ahead and release that foot down. Again, tee out those arms. Keep the ankle and crossed over. Drop the knees over to that left side. And then bring those knees back to center. Uncross it. Let's hug that right knee in. Left leg extends out. Just a little bit bigger twist. Left hand will pull that knee across. Right arm reaches out. Take another breath. And bring it back to center. Switch sides. Left knee hugs in. Right leg extends out and twist it across. And bring that knee back to center. Hug the knees in. And let's rock forward and back. Coming into our seat, let's take a couple breaths. Closing down those eyes. Hands are resting on the knees. Just taking that really big breath in through the nose. And really slow, controlled out through the nose. Try to make that exhale as long as possible. Go about 3 more times, just like that. Big breath in. And out. Again, in. And out. Let's go last one. In. And out. All right, leaving those eyes open. Thank you all so much for joining me. Have a great rest of your day. We have power yoga. It is intermediate yoga this afternoon. So 4:45. Hope to see you all there. Have a great rest of your Monday.